What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to John's Car Cleanse. It has been about a year since I posted a video, but we're officially back and I couldn't have asked for a better car to return with. Today we're going to be working on this absolutely stunning 992.1 Porsche GT3 finished in chalk with a manual transmission, which already makes this thing pretty special, but as clean as this car can look right now, it is far from it. This GT3 has been sitting outside for weeks and is covered in dust, heavy contamination, and some pretty stubborn hard water spots. The paint, glass, wheels, trim, everything is going to need attention. So in today's video, we're going to bring this GT3 back to life. We'll be doing a full exterior cleanse, tackling the hard water spots, safely removing all the built up dirt and dust, getting this chalk paint looking the way it should. I'm excited to be back. I'm excited to have you guys watching again, and I'm even more excited to get started on this thing. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get this GT3 cleaned up. As you saw, we started off with a full pre-rinse using deionized water. This helps safely soak the hard water spots, loosen the weeks of dust and grime, and prep the GT3 for a proper contactless wash. Now you guys, we're moving into the initial foam bath, and for this step I'm using a properly diluted degreaser through this foam cannon. Since the GT3 has been sitting outside for weeks, the goal here is to break down as much of that built up dirt, road film, dust, and hard water spotting as much as possible before we ever touch the paint. The first foam layer gives the chemicals time to dwell and start loosening all that contamination safely. The key is letting it work long enough to soften everything up, but not allowing it to dry on the surface, especially on a car with chalk paint like this. You don't want any staining to go on. Once the degreaser has had time to do its job, we'll thoroughly rinse everything down with deionized water. This helps us remove loosened grime and gives us a much better surface to work with. After that, we'll follow up with a proper contact wash using a pH neutral soap to safely finish cleaning the paint without adding unnecessary risk of scratching. Now that the car's been thoroughly rinsed and the heavier dirt has been broken down, we're moving into the contact wash stage. For this step, I'm laying down a fresh layer of pH neutral foam over the paint. The reason I like using pH neutral soap here is because it gives plenty of lubrication while still being safe on the paint, trim, plastics, and rubber. At this point, we're not trying to be overly aggressive. We already covered that in the pre-rinse and the first foam bath to loosen up the hard water spots, dust, and built up grime. Now the goal is to safely remove what's left without scratching or marring the finish. With a car like this chalk 992 GT3, the paint can show imperfections pretty easily, so the contact wash has to be done carefully. I'm making sure every panel is fully coated in foam before I touch it, because that soap acts as a barrier between the towel and the surface. The more lubrication we have, the safer the wash process is going to be. For the actual contact wash, I use a clean microfiber towel and work panel by panel using light pressure and straight line motions. I'm not scrubbing the paint, I'm letting the soap and towel do the work. Once a section of the towel has touched the paint, I rotate to a fresh side so I'm not dragging dirt back across the surface. One thing I'm very strict about at John's Car Cleanse is that I use a new microfiber for every vehicle. I do not reuse microfiber towels from one car to another. Even after washing, towels can hold onto tiny particles that you may not see, and those particles can cause scratches on delicate paint. So for every vehicle I work on, especially something like this GT3, I start fresh. It may seem like a small detail, but these are the kinds of steps that make a big difference in the final result. The goal here isn't just to get the car clean, it's to get it clean as safe as possible. Once the entire car has been contact washed, we'll rinse it down again with deionized water and proceed to blow drying the exterior. Alright you guys, check this out. Before we officially move into the interior detail, I like to take care of a few things that can easily be overlooked, starting with the door jambs and the front trunk area. Since the exterior wash is already complete, there's usually some leftover water sitting in the jambs, hinges, seals, and around the edges of the doors. So I'm going through with a clean microfiber towel and carefully cleaning everything out. This step helps prevent water from running back out later, especially once the car is moved or the doors are opened and closed. On this GT3, I'm also taking extra time around the front trunk area, especially with the carbon and plastic trim. These areas can hold water in the edges and corners, so I'm making sure everything is fully dried before moving on. It's not a heavy cleaning step, it's more about making sure the vehicle is properly prepped and no leftover water is going to drip into areas I've already finished. Once the jambs, seals, and front trunk plastics are dry, we can move on to the interior detail. I always like to start with the interior process with the windows because the clean glass instantly makes the inside of the car feel sharper and more refined. For the glass, I'm using an alcohol-based window cleaner that's diluted with deionized water. The alcohol helps cut through fingerprints, haze, and any light film on the glass, while the deionized water helps reduce the chance of streaking or leaving minerals behind. My towel process here is very specific. I start with the low pile side of the towel and use one section for the initial wipe. That first pass is the wet wipe, where I'm spreading the cleaner, breaking down the grime, and fully cleaning the glass. After that, I flip to a dry quadrant of the same low pile side and do a second wipe. This removes any moisture, streaks, or lint transfer that may have been left behind from the wet section of the towel. Glass can be one of those areas that looks clean at first, but once the light hits it, any streaks or lint become obvious. So taking the extra time with a wet pass followed by a dry pass gives a much clearer finish and helps make the interior feel properly dialed in before moving on to the rest of the detail. You guys can see here I am struggling to get to that back window right now. This roll cage was added afterwards. You can see it was powder coated to match the chalk color too. It was a struggle to get it, but I ended up cleaning up the back window. Same process as all the other windows, getting it nice and clear before we move on to the next steps. As you guys can see here, I'm using the high pile side of the microfiber towel to start cleaning all the piano black trim around the gear shifter. You can see here I'm tucking the microfiber towel deep into that socket right there, that crevice, whatever you want to call it. That is all piano black trim going all the way down. I don't know why they designed it like that, but it's pretty easy to get to. If you fold the towel in half and just slide it in there with a little bit of window cleaner, you should be looking good. Now you guys, I'm sorry to inform you that I completely forgot to film the next segment of vacuuming, but I did get distracted by his GT3 RS he just picked up. You guys are going to see here he's going to be doing a launch for us. He got a custom exhaust put on there, lowered it a little bit, did some slight modifications, but I think this slight intermission is going to be worth it, you guys.
Good Lord.
Alright you guys, and that is gonna be a wrap on this GT3 detail. I really appreciate you guys watching and supporting John's Car Cleanse, especially since this is my first video back in about a year. I'm so grateful to be creating videos again for you guys and sharing the process with you. Thank you for being here, and be sure to check out some of the videos YouTube thinks you'll like right here.